Good morning. Welcome to the Brew. Today on the show, we have Paulina and Molly. We are going to talk about the rally in commodities, all the rallies in commodities, and specifically gold. So let's get to that opening bell.
Hey.
What? What? I love it. Oh my God. Max, what a surprise. Did you do this, Ma?
Give it a round for Max. Give it a round.
Wait, look at the musicians. What do you think, Paulina? We're going to do a little shtick on some music fade in. I like it.
I feel like there's a crude conversation coming up.
Did you just say that? I love it. No, this is interesting. This is a good topic. So we're going to talk about commodities. Paulina's going to set this up. Golly, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Oil, right? The energies, the gold, all this stuff. So let's get into it. What are you thinking, Paulina?
Yeah. I mean, commodities are on the move higher. Crude prices, they've been on the run over the past few weeks, reaching close to $90 per barrel. And WTI, West Texas Intermediate, that's the benchmark for oil. Mm-hmm. That's about 19% higher this year. It has recently pulled back. So that rally is taking a bit of a pause, but it has to do with a few things. Mm-hmm. And we see this dynamic playing out as a result of the changes in supply and demand, basically, and what's happening in the Middle East. So I thought to break those down.
Okay. So yeah, I get the whole global, geopolitical tensions. I'm assuming that's where it's coming from, but tell us more.
Yeah, that's a central part of the argument here. There's a lot of uncertainty surrounding the geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, and that's led to market fluctuations and a lot of uncertainty on the risks of what's going to be happening with Iran and Israeli tensions. There's potential as a result for further increase in crude oil prices. At least that's what the experts are saying. Mm-hmm. They believe that if these tensions were to escalate, prices per barrel could go up as much as $40. And the thinking behind that is Iran, which is an OPEC country, its oil production would fall if it enters into a war with Israel. And that would skew the price higher because supply would go lower while demand would be consistent. So that means that there's potential for the price of oil per barrel to reach around $100 or maybe more.
Well, okay. So who else is producing oil in the Middle East? Iran's a big one. There's another big player there, right?
There's the UAE.
Oh, the UAE, right? Sure. Okay.
I think there's about 8 countries don't quote me on that, in OPEC.
Okay.
I think it might be 13 member countries.
Are there?
We'll check. Yeah. And I think U.S. produces. So U.S. produces. OPEC, are they a cartel? Are they a cartel manipulating prices?
Already? Jesus, Mal. God, leave Paulina alone with the CT scan.
I think it's important to consider what the broader consequences are going to be if there's higher oil prices. Because inevitably, that's going to impact the economy. It's going to make things more expensive. When you think about higher oil prices, that means it's more expensive to transport goods, to fill up gas tanks. And that means businesses would have to increase their prices. And then if we take that a step further, that could lead to more inflation, which is a concern for the Federal Reserve. Mm-hmm. So it's important to think about what the ripple effects of the consequences are.
So if we opened up drilling in this country, could we stave off higher oil if we wanted to? And I wonder if we ever go there, if oil gets really tight because of the tensions and a war, do we have to start shouldering this ourselves? I wonder if that's part of the policy.
That's a good question.
Behind the scenes. Yeah.
What do you hear, Paulina?
Paulina's on the end. She's on the inside.
She's very careful.
She can't tell us. I swear.
No, I think that's a good point. I mean, the U.S. does produce a lot of oil. We have been, scaling that back under this administration. So if it is a challenge, the supply becomes a challenge. I think we would have to figure out if we could ramp up oil production.
Okay. What about gold? What's going on there? Why the rally in gold, or at least the re-rally in gold? But it stayed really pretty strong throughout, all of this, I think, right? So what do you think's going on? What's to account for this rally in gold, do you think, Paulina?
Yep. So during times of economic uncertainty, wars, gold is kind of seen as the ultimate store of value. And that's exactly what's happening right now in our world. So people are flocking to gold, and we see that year to date, it's up 15%. Physical gold is being driven by not only individuals, but by central banks and high net worth investors as well. So they are going out of dollars and into gold. And the reason behind this is because gold is a safe haven. And like I said, a lot of uncertainty, geopolitical conflict, and inflation, of course. Gold is the original inflation hedge. And of course, when we've been seeing inflation, it's been really sticky, coming back over the past few readings higher than expected. And so gold is seen as this inflation hedge, store of value. Over the past year, there has been several bank failures as well. So people are maybe skeptical about leaving their reserves. So that's why they're flocking to gold as well, because the thinking is gold can't be confiscated by a bank. It's safe in my personal vault. So a few dynamics playing out there.
Yeah. Molly, do you have gold besides what's in your ears and on your hands, fingers?
Well, I will say this about gold. I think the CBDC. So with war coming on, and I think they're going to be pushing that in a big way. And I think, although the U.S. hasn't made any big moves, I think that's why they're hoarding that. China has been buying gold like crazy, and although it's a gold-backed digital coin, which sounds great, it sounds like a good opponent to Bitcoin, but what you have to remember, it's still centralized. And I think with gold, are we auditing them? I mean, the Federal Reserve has never been audited. Pentagon, I believe, has also failed a couple audits on that note, but no one's auditing how much gold is actually in the vaults. And so I think although it's a security blanket, we have to do our dig and do our research to see the strength of that coming towards us. And I think it ties in with what you're saying, Paulina, with oil. So as oil prices go up and if there's supply interruptions which drive prices up, I do think are they going to push even more money into the economy? I mean, I keep saying this, but the last couple of years, 80% of current money in circulation has been created in just the last few years. And we haven't felt the effects yet, not even close. I think people are still, it hasn't really, arrived on our shores yet, but that is going to hit, and it's going to hurt, I think, definitely the middle class. And it's going to, I own a home. And so unfortunately it benefits me. So, my mortgage payment goes down every time money gets pumped into the market. And so that is also on the other side very unfair for other people. So what do you think about, where do you see us in a couple of years? And what do you see, is Israel going to fight back? What is Iran going to do? What's your opinion?
Well, I think it's to your point, it's important to understand who's, like you said, who's behind the buying. And you mentioned that China, central banks, particularly China, has been the largest purchaser of gold, physical gold, but they're not alone. And I have a point here that's going to take us full circle, but other central banks are also coming into the fold. You have India, Turkey, Singapore. They're also buyers of physical gold, and all of this is said to be a part of their de-dollarization strategy. So because at this time, you see they're buying gold, but they're also reducing their US treasuries. So this suggests that they're diversifying their holdings away from US dollars. And this, as a result, it's going to be a challenge for the US economy because we have the power to create as many dollars as we want. And the fact that these countries are diversifying away from the dollar could have long-term implications. So I think it's important to keep that dynamic in mind.
Yeah.
I think, Lex, you always, sorry to interrupt, but you always bring up the point is that the dollar, we're still the most trusted. So even though there's a lot of fear mongering, where else is someone going to go? So the dollar, even though there's a lot, it's being debased,
right?
It's still a go-to.
Well, there's also an argument that other countries are trying to take the dollar out of the standard of being the currency of the world, right? So there's chatter about that as well. I've heard. So I don't know how that ever. What are we going to put it in the Ruan or something like that? Where, how?
Right. So in the efforts, I mean, what I'm hearing you say is in the effort to, a lot of propaganda has happened in the past, and so can you trust what's on the box in front of you? And if there's monetary wars, we might be at war, but we don't. It's silent. Yeah. So is some of this fear mongering, does it have a purpose against us? And I don't know. So
well, you never know if what Paulina says is true about China being the biggest buyer. It's almost like maybe Nancy Pelosi's portfolio. They have inside information. They know that they're going to go attack Taiwan and cause this world upheaval.
Right.
That's the safe haven again. I actually think the gold thing is a little bit more around the geopolitical tension. And I think people believe that there is going to be some pretty major crises in this world coming forward. I really do.
Paulina, do you have gold?
Yeah, I do. I do have some allocation to gold. I think having allocation to kind of those hard assets that are a traditional store of value is something positive to consider. I'll also note that apart from all the central bank buying, I read that Chinese retail investors are also diversifying into gold and outside of the distressed property market. A lot of them have, a lot of their assets allocated to that, but they're trying to diversify away from that area. But I think given, to your point, Lex, given the challenging macro factors, the geopolitical tensions, I think gold could be headed higher from here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Paulina and I are forming a pact. I'm a bull on gold.
Yeah,
at least in the shorter term. I shouldn't say short term, but shorter.
I actually am bull. I also am, various limited amounts of gold. AI hasn't quite figured out. We have been able to produce gold on a particle accelerator at CERN. I don't know if it was CERN that accomplished that, and again, it was a bit radioactive. But how do you own gold? So, like Bitcoin has cold wallets, do you own gold in your backyard? Do you own gold, an ETF across different holdings?
Let me interrupt. Did you see that Costco sells gold? What do they call gold bars? Is that what they call them? They were selling gold bars at Costco. They were off the shelves, right?
Wow.
Did you see that article, Paulina? I just read that the other day. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was not for real.
Is it in a case or is it?
Well, you go to the wine department and you got to get the guy with the key to come out, and he said, "Give me a couple of them gold bars there."
That's crazy. I didn't know that. Wow.
I swear. I just read about it. I thought it was a joke. I really did, but I think it's legit. And I think it was flying. They were flying off the shelves.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy. I would definitely own it. I mean, I keep it on your person at all times. I really think it's important to make sure you have the gold in your hands if you're going to invest. Yeah.
I think gold is great because it's very accessible nowadays. There's so many forms of owning gold, whether it be digitally through an ETF mutual fund. That's the easiest way to get it. to access it, but you can also buy physical gold through a dealer. Obviously, the cost would be a little bit higher because you would have to have insurance and have a vault, or if you want to pay for storage at a third-party location, you have to consider all these different factors. But yeah, I think it would be wise to diversify with gold.
And then what do you think is the gold valuation increasing because the dollar is being debased? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think there are multiple factors. I think the dollar aspect, the inflation aspect, and then the war aspect. So I think that's that trifecta that is supporting gold's price higher. And it's just a safe haven in times of just massive uncertainty. And that's why I think we're seeing the price chug higher.
Yeah. Okay. Guess what, Mal? Paulina's got to go bye-bye now.
Thanks, Paulina.
Thanks,
As
Paulina.
always, really fun.
Have a great weekend. As always, we'll look forward to seeing you next week, Friday. So thanks for coming on. Interesting stuff.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye, Paulina.
Bye, Paulina. Coming elections. Where do you think this plays out?
Like who wins, or what do you mean?
Or oil? No, on oil.
Oh, on oil?
What's the conversation going to be?
Well, I think, if one party wins, we know who that is. I think we're going to drill, baby, drill. And I think we're going to put some more supply into the market. We all know what that does relative to price.
Right. Who mentioned he would not move to CBDC in America as well?
Yeah. So,
as far as the gold tie-in to oil,
yeah. And if the other party wins, it's going to be more of the same.
Do we drill in the U.S. or do we?
That's a good question. I'm not sure about that. There's, this whole environmental thing that's going on, and the climate alarmism. I'm still not convinced that there's an alarm. Now, granted, we're probably a bunch of pigs as humans, but I don't know if we're at the alarm state. Now, does that mean we shouldn't be more mindful? Okay, I'll give you that one. But I'm not one of those persons who's drinking out of paper straws because they're good for the climate. Sorry.
I agree with you. The Moral Case for Fossil Fuels is also a good book to read up on that subject matter.
Wow, we're plugging books now. No, I think a better solution for America is to make it as clean as possible, which I think we've already done. So that's the better case, and then own our own oil as well, which we do. We have enough oil in the ground in our own provinces, or whatever you want to call them, states and other, that we won't need an ounce of gold from anywhere else for hundreds of years. Wait, did you say hundreds? I thought you said tens. Sorry. No, hundreds, maybe thousands. Who knows? But we have a lot of oil. I don't know. I think let's do it right. Let's use what we need to use when needed. And, there's an argument that says, let's use everyone else's oil and save our own. I get that too. That makes a little sense, I suppose, relative to geopolitical sort of tension. But, I think we should be self-sufficient and clean, responsible.
I agree. And I think that the sources of energy is going to change dramatically as AI comes online. And
I think that's probably
help out with that.
I'm hopeful of technology. I'm always placing my money on technology. It seems that technology innovation pulls us out of every problem we have. And right now we may be seeing that relative to AI, where that's taking us. I mean, this market is as resilient can be, right? It really is. I mean, we've had a sell-off, last week. I think we had a little bit of a downdraft, but toward the beginning of this week, we started to have big rallies, and I don't know. It's a resilient market despite everything that's out there, all the mess that's out there. Who knows?
Do you think it's the eye before the storm, or are you?
I don't know. I'm not
getting comfortable.
I'm not sure yet. I think we need strong leadership in America. Again, without getting too political, I don't think we have that now. I'm a fan of standing up to the world. That's all there's to it. You know what? You want to give me a black eye, I'm giving you two. I'm gonna knock you out. So don't cross this line. And if you do, here's what's gonna happen for real. None of this. Okay, now the line's here. Wait, now the line's here. Don't cross this line now. I don't like that. No bueno.
Agreed.
All right. Well, Ma, we gotta go. Have a good weekend.
All right, Lex. Talk to you later.
Bye.
All opinions expressed by Tradeyear Hub contributors are solely the contributors' opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Tradeyear nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Hub contributors as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of their opinion. The contributors' opinions are based on their own personal research, but neither Tradeyear nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries warrants its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. Any trades or positions discussed or referred to by contributors may or may not be actual live trades or positions. Such information is not intended to be financial or investment advice. Tradeyear Inc. is the parent company of Tradeyear Brokerage Inc. Tradeyear Brokerage Inc. and Tradeyear Inc. are separate entities with their own products and services. Securities products and services are offered through Tradeyear Brokerage Inc. Tradeyear Brokerage Inc. is an independent subsidiary of Tradeyear Inc. All rights reserved. Member FINRA SIPC.